Hi Taurus, welcome to your August 2016 general tarot reading. I did lay out the cards and I began the reading and I was just talking a hot mess, so I'm going to start all over. I have just woken up a few hours ago. I still have not had a coffee, so my brain is a little bit on delay, and so I want to give you a concise reading. So I'm going to just start over again. The overall energy is the Eight of Swords. So this is about a self-imposed prison, and this relates to your thoughts. And so you may be in denial over something, some of you. Maybe there's somebody, and I do get a really strong feeling that for a lot of you this is going to be yet another love reading, even though this is supposed to be a general forecast. But I feel that some of you are not looking at a situation in the light of truth, and you're overlooking a lot of crap that is leading to the relationship not being good. And let me just go into the past stuff to kind of flesh things out. So we have the Lover's card with the Five of Cups. So definitely this is where I get the relationship energy from. It could be, you know, for business partners, it could be something that went sour. If you were working with somebody and you thought you guys were partners, and it turns out that the other person screwed you over some way. But let's think about love, and I feel that some of you may have been disappointed by a person that you thought you were really deeply in love with, deeply committed to, or deeply intimate with. And maybe you got physically involved with them thinking that it was going to lead to a love relationship, and you found out that they were just using you for sex. You know, I mean, can't get more blunt than that. But this could be a Gemini individual. This could also point that there's maybe there is a love triangle, and that person has to choose, or somebody has to choose. Either you have to choose or they have to choose. But I get the feeling that they're doing the choosing, because I feel like you're in denial, that you're thinking that everything is hunky-dory and it really isn't. Or you're trying to pretend that it is. But really you have been going through a lot of emotional upheaval because of this. Maybe you have chosen to stay, but you really are in denial over what's happening, and you really are feeling grief. You really are feeling like you were rejected in some way. By the way, when I said that the Lover's card connects to Gemini and that this could be a Gemini person, this really could, because there is a lot of swords energy in this reading, and swords relate to air signs, and Gemini is an air sign. And the other air signs are Libra and Aquarius, in case you're dealing with either one of those individuals. But yeah, I get this feeling of the past. You were feeling very dejected by a love situation, and currently you can't let go of those thoughts. Maybe it's just, maybe you have left, or that other person has left, but you're still obsessed with the relationship. And this is, it's blinding you to what your reality is. Now, let's look at the current. We have Two of Swords and Knight of Pentacles. I love how it just like totally focuses and it becomes crisp. So the Two of Swords is another card of being on the horns of a dilemma. And it's the swords. So it's like, you know, more mental activity. The swords also relate to strife, and so in other words drama. So this could be a time when you are feeling a little bit more emotional in August. I think that at the end of the month, when the sun goes into Virgo, which is your solar 5th house, that you will start to feel better because the fifth house is the house of love affairs, love relate, the initial stages of love. So even if you've been having a lot of heartache, I think that you will end up in a good place. This may be residual energy from recent months that has plagued you. And maybe it's coming to a head. Maybe it came to a head. So that's the past, and the Knight of Pentacles could be you, because I think it is connected to Taurus. It definitely is connected to Earth, and it's somebody who really plods away at their career and is very dependable, very consistent, and very committed to amassing large sums of money and doing very well in their career. So I would associate that with Taurus anyhow. But then when you get that 2, you're looking at duality. You're looking at this or that. And 2 people, 2 decisions. Something that may be a stalemate. I don't know. And maybe maybe it is reached a stalemate, and you're feeling that you're not able to proceed forward. The only thing I can say about these cards so far is that they're minor arcana, not the lovers, but the rest of them. And so any kind of mental oppression that this card represents, this is something that can be altered in a very easy way if you make a shift. And, the bottom line is that shifts are merely looking at your situation in a totally different way. And I call it the macro view of things, which is the higher perspective, and seeing things that not how they relate to your emotions, your petty little emotions or your petty little life, but how they relate to everyone. And so even if you catch your spouse cheating, the most enlightened position would be, first off, if that person wasn't happy with me and maybe didn't want to hurt my feelings, or maybe he or she didn't want the children to suffer, I can't really fault this person, because maybe they meant well and they're just trying to be happy. And yes, it is going to upset my life, but I want that person to be happy as well. I don't want somebody who's unhappy being married to me. I don't want somebody unhappy being married to me, raising my kids with me, because I don't think we're going to be able to pretend to be happy when we're not. So I'm grateful for this opportunity, because it causes me to free me up, because this person is bound. But, if you can say, I'm free now to move on, and I can find the person that's really right for me. This person isn't right for me because this person wants to be with somebody else. But we always take it personally. And I understand. I can imagine that would be very hard to not take it personally. But if you can practice it, even in baby steps, it would be so helpful, because it is what it is, right? At the end of the day, if the person is cheating or has cheated, that's it. You can't put the genie back into the bottle. Once it's out, it's out. Once somebody, does something like that, even if they want to be in the marriage still, it's going to still be a case where, you're going to probably have a hard time ever forgetting that it happened. And so you're going to have to make peace with it somehow. And the 8 of Swords is about being oppressed mentally and not being, maybe even having obsessive thoughts, having thoughts over and over again about something and trying to make something be other than what it is. What crosses you is the 10 of Swords, and this is a card of, that's why I was saying, when I did the first reading, I said what Brittany said, and she goes, ew, hello, straw breaking. I think that's what she said. I mean, this is like hitting rock bottom. But this is actually, if you understand numerology, the 10 is actually a 1. It reduces to a 1. So this is actually, I mean, I used to think, oh God, the 10 of Swords, that's the most horrible card. It's actually not. It means that you've stopped the bleeding. It means that whatever happened, and this, I connect it to that. It's like you're ready to go on to the next phase. But when it's in the cross position, it means that you're not letting go. You're not allowing yourself to hit bottom because you are in denial. Like, if you're in a relationship with somebody and maybe they want a divorce even, and you're like saying, no, I'm not going to give you a divorce because I want us to still be married. It's like Taurus, when you get an idea in your head, oh my Lord, it is because you're a fixed sign. And people think, oh yeah, Taurus people are stubborn. I have Taurus rising. Yes, Taurus can be stubborn, but I don't like the word stubborn because it's really, implying that they're just being willful, and it's really not necessarily about that. Sometimes it has to do with, really latching onto an idea and having a hard time letting go of it. And it can lead to success if you are persistent, and that's kind of like what this card is. It's like, persistently working. If you're persistent in your whatever your vision is, that can be very successful. But if you have the same mentality when you're in a bad relationship and the other person may actually want to end it and you refuse, then that's obsessive. That's when it, crosses the line. And, another fixed sign besides Leo and Aquarius is Scorpio. And Scorpio is the same way. Scorpio is known, especially since it has a co-ruler of Pluto, of being, very obsessive. So if you have Scorpio in your chart, if you know what your chart is, like a Venus in Scorpio, and you're a Taurus, or anything, like you might have a Moon or a Mars in Scorpio or Scorpio rising, you're really that kind of mindset might be something you really have to kind of keep tabs on, to make sure that you don't cross that line where it becomes an obsession. Because really, you know what an obsession is? An obsession is just imposing your will on other people and the universe as a whole instead of accepting things as they are. And that's not being detached. That's the opposite of being detached. So the higher perspective is the Page of Wands. And so this can mean that maybe you did not have with this person good communication, and maybe it was not positive, and this is what you needed that you didn't have. If it was a predictive card, it could indicate that you are going to be receiving some kind of news or starting a new relationship. But in some cases, this can indicate a new relationship. So but in the very fledgling stage, it could be literally with a fire sign person, so Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, that maybe the other person maybe that's the astrological energy of the other person. And if that's the case, then that individual may have needed somebody that had more of that temperament, because Taurus is very grounded, down to earth, and nondescript. Taurus people don't tend to be very flashy individuals. And depending on who you're with, they may have needed that. So you can't look at, if somebody left you or cheated on you and you're questioning yourself whether you're good enough. No, it could just be a matter of personality traits that are more compatible. And as I said before, I feel that some people may have had a situation where they were actually used sexually, and they were willing to but you were willing to cooperate with that because you like sex. I mean, I'm not going to lie. And you're also very attractive people. Taurus people tend to be very attractive. So you're willing to go on with that for a certain amount of time, but then you expected that it was going to turn into something more. Well, you know, it's the oldest story in the book. So that could be saying that, but it also could be, the higher perspective could be that there is going to be good news around the horizon. Don't despair. Just getting back for people that are fine with their love life and they're looking for guidance or messages about their career, I think that you may have been disappointed by someone, especially a partner, that you're having a hard time letting go. Maybe you want to make a move and you feel like, especially with this card, you may be overly, what's that word, security minded, and thinking about, you know, the dollars and cents. Oh, this is a very steady job. I'm going to stay with this job even though you're miserable. And so it could be that you need to accept that it really is over. Maybe in this scenario you haven't lost your job, but you were betrayed by somebody. Maybe it was a coworker, maybe it was somebody like that, but that may have kind of been the beginning of the end, in other words, and that you have to be flexible enough to look for a new job if this fits your particular scenario. But you may be hearing good news that's going to really light your fire, really make you feel positive about life again. And so what benefits you at this time is the Two of Wands. So here's that two again. Well, in this case, it's about being flexible to think about, see, that person's holding the world. So you have to be expansive. Right now, you cannot be, you can't play small. And this is, it's not that this is playing small, but it could be that you're being overly security minded and you're afraid to make a move because you're thinking in terms just of a steady paycheck. And this card is about looking beyond the immediate environment for something more and having the world in your hands. But maybe you just don't know, should I stay here, should I go? For relationships, it could be saying that you have to make a decision. Maybe you want to just move from the area. If you're, you know, if you just got over a bad relationship, maybe you just want to totally move to a new location because you want to start fresh, but you're still tied to your local area for some reason. And so you have to kind of I think it's less, you know, because it's really not an advice position. It's really just like about a mentality to kind of adopt. And so it's just more of an expansive mentality rather than a narrow one. The actual advice is another fire sign. See, I'm getting all this fire now. So you're needing to inject enthusiasm into your life. The King of Wands. So you see that this Knight of Pentacles is very practical and very driven, but you need that zest, that juiciness in life. And so it's asking you to have the confidence to go after what it is that you really, really want and not to be afraid of the consequences. And this could be in love or in career. Now it's sounding like career to me, because this could be a message that you receive about your career. And so the way that you do that is thinking about the things that make you really excited to be alive right now. And the things that you do that you may even like play off as just hobbies, and if they could be things to do for actual careers. Because that could really point to you making the best choice for you ultimately. And this is, and the King is like total mastery of this particular suit. And the suit is in the Tarot is fire, the fire element. Oh, what did I say? The suit in the Tarot is the wands, but it's the fire element, you know, in astrology. And the fire element relates to creativity and passion and independence, really. Being your own man or own woman. You know, being an individual, not being part of the herd of sheep. That this is kind of sometimes is that first chakra, you know. The survival mentality. I need to survive. And meanwhile, you're feeling, you know, a sense of oppression over it. And the outcome is the Hierophant. This is your card. I don't think it should be. Every time I pick this card, I say I reject the notion. I think this should be Sagittarius. But it is connected to Taurus. And the reason I think it should be Sagittarius, it's a religious figure and it's higher learning. And that's the 9th house with Sagittarius. But this is also kind of the conformity, all of the systems in society that are, you know, part of the mainstream. And yet, I think in this particular context, it's asking you to develop a philosophical framework for your life so that you can fall back on it. And that includes, of course, a religious belief or a spiritual belief, so that you can act in a way where you feel a sense of balance. Well, balance isn't the right word. It's actually more like a framework to work from. I really don't understand personally how people can go through life without believing in anything beyond the physical. And Taurus is the first earth sign. So you tend to be sensualists and you revel in the senses, but you also tend to be childs of nature. So you may not feel comfortable in a church building, but you certainly feel comfortable at a lake or, you know, on a farm, in an open field. You may immediately take off your shoes because you like to connect to the earth. So that may be your sanctuary. And definitely, I'm not suggesting that you have to join an organized religion, but connect with spirit. Connect with it in everything that you do, and you will never go wrong. You know, I don't care what month it is and what cards I draw next month for you. That's something that you can count on every month, like clockwork. And all of this other stuff that's going on, whether it's excess mental energy or a relationship that's going sour or, betrayal at the office, whatever's going on, all of that is secondary to your spiritual nature because that is eternal. All these other events are temporary. And so just, there's a word in, I think it's Hindi or Sanskrit, Leela, and they call it, it's play. We're playing, we're playing these parts. We're in the Leela. And as long as we can know that, or the more we can embrace that, we won't get bogged down in some of these things. We can always remember that we're on that stage and that one day we will be done with this play and it'll be on to a new play. And so I hope you enjoyed this Taurus. If you'd like a personal reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a very wonderful, eventful August. Bye.